Okay guys, welcome to our edition of Pedicament 10. Hopefully you can hear me. This is going to be a breakdown slash tutorial of how to build the Succubus. So, the very first thing that we want to do with this build is we want to make it the Imperial, okay? And so I'm going to walk you through that, okay? So, we'll also take a look at the spells, how they work, and how they're used, and the enchantments, things like that. We'll walk through this later. But first off, okay, we're doing a succubus build. We're doing a with the Imperial, and you can see how our focus is on magic and health, right? And the primary reason because of this is because, like, we're not going to be carrying around heavy armor and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, there's two ways of doing this. There's doing it with clothes only, if you can find some really nice clothes that suit the character, or doing it with armor. I originally went with clothes and made magic armor, which is still a great thing to have, but eventually went down the light armor path because I found these other clothes more alluring. Now the whole point to this build is you're a sex demon. Okay, I'm just going to go and say it. You're a sex demon, okay? And your primary objective is to slaughter men, okay, indiscriminately, okay? You're evil, pure evil, okay? I've never made a more evil build in this. And so let's walk you through the character, okay? All right. So you have no allegiance to this. You can play this and do the main quest and things like that, but there's certain things you can't do because of the character and what it falls into, okay? Which we'll get into here in a second. So let's just take a look at this as to why we choose the Imperial, okay? So when we go here, we notice that we got Voice of the Emperor. This allows us to calm people around us for a full minute. So when we're in a hectic situation, right, we can just calm everybody down and everybody chills out, okay? All right, so this is why we took this route, okay? Our actually I got things favored here. So our weapons are double daggered. So we're going with the Blade of Woe, which allows us to absorb the health because through alluring men into us, right, because we're playing as a female, if you want to do a male, that would be the Incubus, but you can do the same build as here, just it would be the Incubus instead of the Succubus, okay? I chose a female because, like, well, yeah, if I'm going to look at the screen all day, I want to see a female, but ironically, I play this in first person, so, it's kind of funny that way. But we're going to want to dual weld different blades here. So what we got here is we got one that ciphers life out of people, right? And then we got the Blade of Sacrifice, or we can use the Ebony Dagger, right? That's a 38, that's a 55, so that's a no-brainer, and that's a 38. So I'm using these two right here, or you can go with these two here, Blade of War, this, right? Now, I went into the Dark Brotherhood early so that I could get the Blade of Woe from Astrid, and I'll talk about that later on here in a second, but this is what you want, okay, for the build, right, okay? So in other words, we're just dual welding daggers. That's all that we're doing. And then we're casting spells too, and I'll get into that in a second, but I'm just explaining the weapon part first. So we're dual welding daggers. Then we look at our armor, and this is the coolest armor that I came across, was the Dark Seducer, which is parts of the Saints and Sinner, which is why I decided, okay, I'm going to go down this alley, okay, alright? And obviously I must be in the midst of doing some haggling or that because I have it on this and I should have it on something else, right? So we have, like, Ring of Health that gives us an extra boost there to health, and The armor up here, there's the helmet for it, so that would be the one that I would go with. I guess I'm in the midst, I haven't played this for a while, so I guess I'm in the midst of selling stuff off. That's why I have it like that, right? And then I use this for extra magicka around the neck, you know, kind of thing, alright? So this is what I rock with, right? Okay, for the Succubus build. And when you see it, it actually looks really, really good. Now, that's what we're doing there at that end of it. In terms of magic, we're doing a lot, actually, okay? We have alteration where we can detect life because we're detecting people so that we can go around and drain them of their life energy, right? Okay. This is not a nice character, by the way. We have ebony flesh, oak, and all that kind of stuff because this is how I originally got my armor, was this way, okay? Because I went with a clothing build and not an armor build, and now I'm switching over to armor build, okay? We got paralysis because people are so mesmerized by us, they fall in love with us so much, they lust for us, that they're just paralyzed with pleasure or fear because they realize you're a demon, or they're sexually attracted to you so much so that you can paralyze them, okay? And we have transmutor just so that we can make money, okay? So anyway, that's not part of the character build there. That's just something else. Illusion, this allows us to do a lot of things. Like we can call our comrades to arms. We can calm people around us. We can cause them to become courageous, which gives them more health and that. So this is for our ally, right? Our simp, whatever you want to call them, okay? Then for the enemy, we got things like we can make them afraid of us. We can set everybody, including our friendlies, into a frenzy and have everyone fight for us, which is the best thing to do, actually, to be honest with you, is to sick your friendlies and to sick your enemies against one another, and you just sit back and let them all kill each other. That's usually what I do. That's like my main go-to right there. Right off the bat, as soon as I enter a battle, unless it's one-on-one, I do this, right? Okay. And then we got Fury, which does basically the same thing. Harmony to calm everybody down. Hysteria to, you know, which is like Frenzy, but even a bigger because you have like a 250-foot radius with this thing. So yeah, there's a reason why it's a master level, just like Harmony's master, okay? Alright? So this will calm everybody around in a 250-foot area. This will make everyone go nuts in a 250 feet area. Now we have invisibility so that we can sneak up on the enemy, okay, go invisible, sneak up on the enemy and slit their throat behind them before they even realize what happened and they're dead, okay. Mayhem again, so we put it against other people, muffled so that we don't make any sound. Pacify again to calm people down. Rally to take our ally, who is our thrall, and to encourage him to go out there and fight for us. So again, it's all about turning enemies against one another and taking our so-called friendlies, who are under this illusion of us being sexually attractive, and they're so enthralled with us, so lusting for us, that we actually force them to go and rally for us, okay? That's what the rally is for. They're literally going to go in our favor, right? Route, the enemy is so afraid of us because they realize that we're a demon, we're a sex demon, that they're so afraid that they just flee from us, like, you know, kind of thing, right? They just take off at the mere sight of us, right? Then we got this thing here, that was just part of, like, you know, a quest that I did, you know, to get the master level illusions, right? Okay. We don't do this. We do this just for soul trapping, because, you know, the succubus uses black souls, and so we will fill the black soul gems by taking the souls of humans by killing them, and that. So we're going to cast this onto them so that we can trap their soul. Okay, all right. We don't use this. All right. We don't use shouts. Our power is Voice of the Emperor, which allows us to calm everybody around us. So if we really find ourselves in a hectic situation, we're about to die or something, we can literally just calm everybody down, because that's how powerful we really are, right? Okay. And then just all the active effects, we don't need these. Oh, you do need these though. I took the Mage Stone, okay? So this is, you know, massively important is the Mage build, okay? Now let's look at the skill tree and let's see what you do and what you don't do and why. So, let's go into this. So alteration all the way to 100. This allows us to cast paralysis in that, and here's what I did with it. We did this all the way up the middle, you know, kind of thing, right? Okay. And we'll go off into different branches here. We took 3 for armor here because this gives us 300 armor if we don't use any armor at all, which is great at the start of the game. This I highly recommend you get up as soon as possible because then you get this and you have, like, you know, 100 per perk that you put into it, okay? All right. And then we went over here, and as you can tell, I'm 2 out of 3 into magic resistance. I still got to put the 3rd perk in there, okay? So we're magic resistant too, right? And we have stability for our spells so that they last longer. And we have expert because that's the highest level that we're casting right now, you know. We do have master ones, so we want to eventually get this so it's half off too as well. We can also absorb magic that is cast against us, right? But we're not going to do that because we're not a mage build, okay? We're into making this the Succubus, right? So the highest we can go there is master, but we don't take the other one, but we take the other ones there. Enchanting, we're doing 100, and we're going to go up here so that we can get the extra effect where we can put 2 enchantments into it, right? Okay, all right. And we're going to go up the middle on that one so that we can better our skills and we can better our health, magicka, and stamina. We can also get into things like soul siphoning, but it doesn't work on people, so that's questionable, you know. And again, soul squeezer, you know. Soul gems provide extra magic. I'm not sure if that works with humans with the black soul gems, but because it says soul gems, I'm curious about that, right? Because this one up here says specifically not people. This doesn't say it doesn't include people. So I would save that for last, you know, just in case, right? So you want to go up the middle branch here, you know, so that you can get all these things, right? Okay, ignore the left branch, and if you take the right branch, only for that one there to see if it does what I think it might do. And here you want extra effect so that you can do 2 enchantments, okay? You want smithing so that you can get the arcane blacksmith. We're not making our own stuff, as you see. I have nothing locked on either side. I have nothing on light and I have nothing on heavy. I just went for this so that we can smith, you know, so we can improve our weapon and armors that already have enchantments in them, okay? All right. We are a one-handed build, and on the one-handed build we're going up dual welding, so we're using daggers only. This is a dagger build, okay, for weapons, and we're dual welding. We don't do archery. We do light armor, okay, and this one I just got started on. Okay, I started off with using clothes that were sexually attractive, but it didn't work for me. Then I found this armor set, and I'll show you why I chose this. And this is the route that I strongly recommend that you do, right? And so I went this route. You know, I tried the tavern clothes, didn't like them, so then I changed to this one. And you can grab all the perks in this set right here, okay? All right. Sneak, we do up the right side here, where we backstab. We don't use bow and arrows at all. We just use, you know, this, and we want this so that we can get the extra damage for Assassin's Blade, which causes us to do 15 times damage per dagger. So that means one dagger does 15 times damage. When we use 2 daggers, which is what we're doing in this build, it does 30 times damage. Okay, and if you watch my Let's Plays, you'll actually see me playing it, and when I stab someone in the back, yeah, it does in fact do that. You know, we could take muffled here too as well, um, but we're not a thief, so we're not into any of this other stuff. But we could go muffled because the enemy doesn't see us coming, right? They won't hear us coming. We're a sex demon, right? Okay. We're not doing this. We're only doing this, like, you know, for treasure and that. That's all, you know. We do this for the reason of here, you know. We can put poisoned in. We can also pick pockets for gold is easier. And we also have 100 extra pockets, and we also want to use it for poison, right? That's key right there. But this is the main reason why it went up this far. We're not going to go any further than this direction, because this allows you to steal the Blade of Woe from Astrid. So when you get this up to 70 and you pick this, you can actually steal the Blade of Woe from her. And I did that in my playthrough. And when I did it, I actually killed Astrid with her own blade, because as she was taking my health, I was getting it back because my daggers are like vicious, you know, and I can swing them faster, right? So that's that tree right there. Okay, you see I only put one perk here. I only put one perk in because we're not a thief, right? We just want to unlock it, right? That's why I chose these here too, was to unlock it, right? And then what we want to do here too is that we can poison as well if we want to, okay? But we want to go all the way up to being able to do misdirection so that we can steal Astrid's blade. That Blade of Woe is vicious. Highly recommend it with this build because you're sucking the life out of people, right? Now here we're doing this for the allure, and then we switch over to bribe, persuasion, and intimidation, because that's what the succubus does. And actually we ended on persuasion because we don't intimidate. We are sexually persuasive, right? Okay, that's where we're going with that. We don't do anything past allure up here because we're not into the merchant business. Okay, we're not into this stuff. We're into alluring the opposite sex towards favoring us, and then we're into bribing the guards because they're lusting for us. And because of persuasion, everybody's lusting for us, we can pick up persuasion too. But we don't intimidate. You see, we're not intimidating. We're sexually attractive, right? We're attracting them to feed off of them, right? Okay, to claim their soul. We don't do alchemy. We do illusion up to 100, and here's why. Okay. We have, like, you know, where we can control people. Like, we have to unlock the animal one, but what we're really interested in is this one right here on people, right? Okay. All right. And as we go down here, we can see, like, you know, again, this works with kindred and animage. We're going with kindred because we're here to, you know, have people lust for us, right? So they become hypnotically attached to us. They become afraid of us. They rage for us, so they will attack everybody on sight for us, right? And all of our stuff works on that. We don't need that. Here we need master level, definitely, and expert all the way through, right? Okay, so all this we want. Okay, so right up here we want all the way up. You don't have to take mastermind though. Okay, all right. Mastermind's just so that it works on everybody, but you don't need that. Conjuration is so that we can soul trap. That's the whole point. And see, I didn't even put a perk into it, right? No perks at all. So conjuration is just so that we can soul trap. That's it. That's all we're doing. So there's no reason to put a perk there because we're just soul trapping. So we're just casting it once. That's it, right? There's no destruction, no restoration, and we get full alteration because we want to paralyze the victim and have magical armor, especially if we're not wearing any armor, which is what I started off with actually, and this is the smart route to go because right off the bat you can have up to, like, you know, 3 points in there. If you get the ebony spell, you get 3 times that, which is 300, right? So each spell that you have goes up in each one of these perks. Each one of these perks gives you 100, so gives you 100 in every single one of them, right? With the highest being ebony that you can get. All right. So that's why we're doing that, right? And then enchanting, because now I've gone down the road of light armor, which we'll get to here in a second. Um, Enchanting, as I said, we're just going straight up the middle, okay? So that we can improve our health, magicka, and stamina, right? And extra effect so that we can have 2 enchantments on one thing. Smithing, we only did to level 60 so that we can, you know, repair and that our armor and weapons that are and better them that are magical. We're not doing anything in heavy armor. We're not doing anything in blocking, two-handed. We're going one-handed with daggers only, so we're just going up the right path so we can do weld fast, and so that we can do power damage, you know, too as well, right? And that's it. Nowhere else with this, right? Just dual weld, okay? No archery, and we're doing light armor, and we can choose all of these, right? Okay, I recommend going up this path here, Unhindered, Windwalker, and then you can select Matchmaker before you go with this here, okay? That's what I selected. That's how I would say you do that. Sneak, we're just doing the right side of the path only. Backstab, we don't use bows, and Assassin's Blade, okay? So that we do 15 times the damage per dagger. This is why we're dual welding daggers. So we're doing 30 damage. You can go muffled on the left. You can go muffled, but no higher than that because we're not a thief, okay? And if you go up here, you see that's for a thief, that's for a thief. You know what I mean? We're not that kind of a character. We are a succubus demon, okay? Lock picking, you know, no perks or nothing. We're just doing that to get the treasures in the dungeons and that, right? Pickpocket, we're doing so that we can get, see I only put one perk there, just one and that's it, okay? So that we can get poison, which I don't have yet, and the main reason is misdirection so that we can steal Astrid's Blade of Woe. This is important to make this build work, right? Because we want to be sucking the life force out of the people, right? So that we can drain their life energy and we can kill them, and while they're trying to kill us, we suck the life right out of them, okay? And so that we have cut purse and we also have extra pockets, you know, so we have extra room. And we can also go poisoned as well. We're not putting any more than one perk there because that's just to unlock it, okay? And then we're going straight up the middle. Speech, we're doing this just to unlock it, and then we're going on lure, bribery, and persuasion. And I think that's it. You know, I think we already talked about this. You know, this is to go invisible and to calm people and make people afraid of us, okay? All right? And to get people to fight for us, right? Okay? Conjuration is just to cast Soul Trap, and Alteration is for the magical protection right here. The magical armor was the main reason I did this, right? Okay? And then we got stability of them, and we got expert, and we just leave it at that, unless we need master, right? But I don't think we do with this one, okay? Magic resistance, we can go up to 3 on that, okay? Enchantment, again, just to make sure we covered the whole thing, all the way up the middle, okay? Including extra effect, all the way up the middle, alright? And blacksmithing, right here to get this. And that's it. I think we covered everything. One-handed, I remember already talking about light armor. Yeah, so we're good. So that's the Succubus character, okay? So when we're using our weapons, we're using 2 daggers, right? So I'm using these 2 right here, okay? Alright? See, it's stolen? I stole it off of Astrid. I killed her, okay? And she's dead. I annihilated the Dark Brotherhood, you know, okay, and that's our goal with that. Our armor is light armor, and I'll show you what this looks like. And actually, I should put this on like this because this will give us the proper magic and everything else, you know, and the whole bit. And then what I should do with the magic is switch it over to what's it on? I want it on ebony. Now here's what happens when we do this, right? Okay, let's look at our armor rating, okay? Our armor rating is 244. Cast this with ebony armor with those 3 points in it, and it now becomes 344. So it goes from 244 to 344, so it's worth putting those 3 points in there anyway. Instead of getting a 300 bonus, we're getting an extra 100 bonus on top of our light armor, which is awesome, right? Okay. So this is the Succubus build, like this right here, alright? And then what we do is, like, we will turn invisible, we will paralyze people, and we'll use the spells the way that I told you that we use them. Okay, we got muffled even as a spell, right? So that's basically it in a nutshell. Like that's it. We're just going around. I went and took on the Dark Brotherhood, and now it's like kill everybody in the Dark Brotherhood, which is awesome, and that sort of thing. And we're just looking out for ourselves. So we're collecting black soul gems and things like that. Like here, I don't have any right now, but we have these ones here, and we also have this one here that we turned into the black star right there, right? So we took Azura's star and we turned it into the black star. You can see I already killed someone for it, and that's a human soul that's trapped. That's mine. So yeah, that's basically what you're doing here. So you can play out the whole game, and really enjoy it in that. Now, why I chose this kind of armor, let me show you, is look at this. This looks awesome, right? Look at how well that is. That looks super, super sexy, right? Nice top, nice bottom, shows the waistline and everything. So basically shows her in a really, really good light. I don't know why the eyes are funny that way, kind of thing. That's just weird that they glow like that. But you can see, like, I got my amulet there and everything like that, and she looks sexy, right? And so that's why I went this route. I did try the tavern clothes, but it didn't quite work for me, But this looks really, really attractive, right? Her hips are being accentuated, lots of skin is being shown, you know what I mean? And she looks like, sexually attractive that way. Trying to see if I can zoom in super close to her face. That's the closest I can get. Try and take that out, but that's happening because I put blue as her eyes, But there you go. That's why I chose that kind of armor. I think it really suits her very well. So that's everything in a nutshell. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If there's any questions, ask down below. So it's a magic / warrior build, kind of thing, right? With the whole idea of sucking people's souls out and getting everybody to fight for us, including our thrall. And you see there behind me there, you can see there's our thrall. We got this guy here as a thrall now. I've lost 2 people with this character already. I've managed to kill off Fendor, and I killed off Allgrid, the great, the one that you beat up with your fists. You know what I mean? You fight her in a fist fight in Whiterun, and so I did that, kind of thing, right? And my stone is, I do believe it's the mage. Yeah, it is the mage stone, because we are heavy into magic, right? And so here's our things here. We got resist magic, which is why, again, we did this build this way, right, with the Imperial, right? We got the Mage Stone, we got resist magic, we have Imperial luck, and then we have, based on the different parts of this armor, we got magic 30 points, health 25 points, health another 50 points, and we got ebony flesh on, which lasts us X amount of seconds, kind of thing, right? So this gives us improved the caster's armor rating by 100 points for 90 seconds. So we get it for a minute and a half, right? And then we can recast it again. So that's where we're at with that. And it only gives us 100 because we're wearing armor, but if we took the armor off, it would give us a rating of 300, okay? So because we're using it with the armor on, we only get 100 boosted to our stats, which I've already showed you here, But yeah, that's the breakdown of the character. See right there, there's our 344 over 244, right? And then our weapons are these right here, and that's it, you're good to go. You know, so that's it in a nutshell, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the build. Have a lot of fun playing it. Take care.